In the winters of 1969, an incident took place in the snow-covered mountains of the Soviet Union, which is considered to be one of the most devastating incidents in the world to date. This story begins with 9 young adventurers. They were all experienced hikers, and their goal was to cross the snow-covered, dangerous mountains. A student was leading this expedition, whose name was Igor Dyatlov. Later, this place was called Dyatlov Pass. In January 1969, this group set off for the Ural Mountains, a snow-covered mountain range in Russia. They had all the necessary equipment, maps, and experience. Everything started off like a normal expedition. In the early days, their diaries and cameras were full of pleasant pictures. They were having fun walking in the snow, singing songs, and were eager to make their expedition a success. But on the night of February 1st, something happened that turned this whole expedition into a terrifying mystery. That same night, they set up their tent on the slopes of the mountain. Outside, the temperature was -30 degrees. In such cold weather, staying outside the tent for a few minutes could have been fatal. But before dawn, something happened that changed everything. When this expedition did not return after many days, a search team was sent. In the midst of snowstorms, after a few days of searching, they found a place where a tent was set up. But the scenery there was extremely strange. The tent was not torn from the outside, but from the inside, as if the people inside had cut the tent out of fear. What was even more surprising was that most of the expeditioners ran into the snow without shoes and warm clothes. In such severe cold, no one would do this voluntarily. The search team saw footprints in the snow. Those footprints were going towards the forest. A few hundred meters away, they first found 2 corpses. It was lying under a tree. It seemed as if they had tried to light a fire, but they had died of severe cold. After further searching, the remaining corpses were also found. Some people fell down on the way and died. But there were also a few corpses that included this case in the most controversial events in the world. Some expeditioners had severe internal injuries in their bodies. The ribs were broken, the skull was severely damaged, but the surprising thing was that there were almost no internal wounds on their bodies, as if they had been pressed by some extremely powerful force. A girl's tongue was missing. Some bodies were also found to have the effects of extraordinary hypothermia. After this, many theories emerged. Some people said that perhaps a snow leopard had come. Some said that this could be a military secret experiment. Some people said that perhaps they had seen an unknown creature or force. The Soviet government quickly closed this case. The government report said that their death was due to an unknown natural force. But the question is still the same. What was it that forced the experienced hikers to cut the tent at night and run at a negative temperature? Was it really just a snowfall? Or did something happen in the silent mountains of Ural Mountains that the world does not know until today? And perhaps that is why Dyatlov Pass is still one of the most terrifying and mysterious places in the world. Because some secrets don't get solved even after time. They just get deeper. That night of February 1969 passed, but the story did not end there. For many years, the Dyatlov Pass remained silent, as if the mountains themselves had hidden this secret. But with time, new investigations, new photos, and new witnesses began to emerge. When some researchers opened the files again, a strange detail emerged. A few days before the incident, a strange orange light was seen in the sky above this area. This report was not only of one person. Many people in the nearby areas also saw this light. It was also mentioned in some military records. After that, another surprising thing emerged. When the rescue team saw the bodies for the first time, they found extraordinary traces of radiation on some clothes. This was not an ordinary amount. It was so necessary to surprise the scientists. Opinions began from here. Some people said that perhaps this was the experience of secret military weapons. At that time, the Soviet Union was conducting many secret experiments. If a new explosive weapon or space test was being carried out, it is possible that it was near these clothes. Another view was even stranger than this. Some experts said that this night there were such winds in the mountains that can produce a special kind of sound, which is called infrasound. This sound cannot be heard by humans, but it can cause severe fear and anxiety in the mind. If this really happened, then it is possible that Kopaima suddenly got scared, left the tent, and ran away. But the most insistent view was the one mentioned by many Russian researchers. According to them, the orange light seen in the sky was not of any natural thing. Some people associated it with an unknown space object, although no solid evidence of this has ever been found. In 2019, the Russian government reopened this case. New computer simulations and satellite data were used. Eventually, the government concluded that a special kind of snowstorm could have caused this incident. It is also called avalanche, but despite its conclusions, some questions are still remaining. If a real snowstorm had come, then why was the tent not completely destroyed? Why were some corpses found so far in the jungle? And the strangest thing is that some Kopaima's bones were broken as if some great force had pressed them. Even today, when adventurers pass through this area of the Ural Mountains, they stop near this place and take silence. The cold air passes through the trees, and the same ground is present under the snow, where one night the story of 9 people became a secret forever. Maybe the truth is simple, or maybe something happened there that the world has not yet understood. Those mountains are still standing there. Snow falls every year, the air flows in the same way, but the secret of Dyatlov Pass has not been completely solved until today. Many adventurers and researchers later went to this place. They saw the same path, the same slopes, the same jungle where that night 9 people were fighting their last battle of their lives. Some said all this was a natural incident. Some said that there was such a force there that man could not understand. But one fact always stands in front. Each of the Kopaimas was experienced. They knew the dangers of the snowy mountains very well. Despite this, they suddenly cut their tent from inside and ran in a snowy night, a night in which the negative temperature drops to -30 degrees. This is the moment where the story becomes a question again. Was it really just a snowfall, or did something happen in the silent mountains of Ural Mountains that history is still hiding today? Maybe the truth is somewhere in the files. Maybe that secret has been buried under the snow forever. And maybe that is why, even today, Dyatlov Pass is not just a place, but has become a question. Snow erases old marks every year, but the story of that night is still alive. Sometimes it feels as if the Ural Mountains themselves have kept this secret. Maybe the truth will come out someday, and maybe not. But one thing is certain: something happened that night that man has never fully understood.